take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Goes, 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 goes. Go, 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 go,
Now, from sunny South Florida, it's the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Riscala. Every Saturday night from 9 p.m. to midnight on the L&M Network. And now, your host, Riscala.
Well, hello and welcome, everyone. Wow, I can't believe it. I just, so much happening. I don't even know where to start anymore. You know, the last several shows, one of the common messages has been that we can no longer sit on the sideline. I mean, I've been saying that for years, but now more than ever, I'm watching these crazy people taking away our rights right and left, while hardworking, God-loving, family-oriented patriots are skewered, and few say anything about it. The shooting in New Zealand, that has every marking, to me at least. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating, but to me, it has every marking of a false flag. And what is the first thing that happens after a major shooting here in the United States? They start talking about what? Gun control. So, according to Wikipedia, New Zealand's relationship to firearms amounts to a sliding scale of restrictions. Gun owners need a license, but the most commonly used guns are like hunting rifles. Hunting rifles are never registered and can be easily bought and sold. Handguns and semi-automatic weapons require a permit to purchase and a separate license. The first thing that happened is representatives from the New Zealand government are talking about new gun restrictions. It's all about disarming the people. It's not just here in the United States. It's all over the world, because these people who are doing these horrible, unspeakable, evil things know that if we ever decide to rise up together, it will be the complete undoing of everything that they have worked so hard to bring forward. It's about disarming the people. That's what it boils down to. And many years ago, we used to be able to laugh at subjects like this. And I have said many times that these people, these sick, twisted, psychopathic, no-good-for-nothing, sewer-sucking slugs, they always tell us what they're going to do, or they tell us the truth, but sometimes they encrypt it. Sometimes they make it in such a way where, no big deal. Do you remember a show that was on years ago called Archie Bunker? many people in my age group do. Used to love watching Archie Bunker get on that hippie little son-in-law of his. Now here's the thing. There was a lot of truth that came out of that show, even though it was a comedy. There was a lot of truth that came out. And the truth, I believe, was set in place by those who are, for whatever crazy reason, required to tell us. They deceive us, but yet they're required to tell us. I don't know that the law says that they have to tell us to our face, we are going to kill you, or if they can just encrypt it in such a way where it goes down like strawberry lemonade. You know? Archie Bunker. Why don't you listen to this for a minute? See if I can get this going here.
Here we are. All right, everybody clamor.
Mr. Archie Bunker, speaking in reply to the editorial broadcast last Saturday.
Good evening, everybody. This is Archie Bunker of 704 Hauser Street, veteran of the big war, speaking on behalf of Guns for Everybody. Now, question. What was the first thing that the communists done when they took over Russia? Answer, gun control. And there's a lot of people in this country who want to do the same thing to us here in a kind of conspiracy, see. You take your big international bankers.
You notice the first thing that happens, we get laughter. Take your big international bank. This is the truth. It is these large international bankers that create most of the hell here on this planet.
They want to, masticate the people of this here nation like puppets on a wing.
Okay, now he purposely is messing up the wording so it becomes a comedy, but the fact of the matter is that they want to control us, and he's telling us that they want to control us, and the people are laughing.
And when they get that done, turn us over to the communists.
Oh, Archie, I'm glad they put you on a stool. You look taller sitting down.
Now, I want to talk about another thing that's on everybody's mind today, and that's your stick-ups and your skyjackers, which, if that was up to me, I could end the skyjackers tomorrow.
Okay, now this was during a time where skyjackings were somewhat rampant. It seemed as though that was the means for them at the time to create havoc and fear in people. Some of them went south. Some of them went really, really bad. So here he's telling the truth, but he's doing it in such a way that it seems illogical or stupid or funny.
You could? All you got to do is arm all your passengers. And then he ain't got no more superiority there.
Now think about this for a minute. He says arm all the passengers. Of course, that sounds ridiculous. If we were having an issue today with regard to skyjackings, which we no longer do, would a skyjacker think twice if it was known common knowledge that people were armed on the aircraft? Do you think that they would think twice or three times, or maybe even just say, you know what, my purpose in this is to, whatever it is, further my cause, and part of that is for me to get from where I'm at to somewhere else with a lot of money in my pocket. That was the scenario basically back then. And I'm not going to be able to do that if all these people are armed. Probably going to kill me before I get the first load off. Yeah, it's silly to say something like, you arm all the passengers. Of course it is. But look at the truth of the matter. Look at a place in Georgia called Kennesaw. Now, I don't know if it's true any longer, but I know that at one time they required their citizenry to be armed and know how to use their arms. And do you know what happened? If you ask a Democrat, that was a recipe for disaster. All hell should have broken loose. There should have been mayhem and blood in the streets, and nobody should be safe. When in fact, it's the complete opposite. The crime rate there was, I don't know, I haven't looked in some time, but at one time was extremely low, a fraction of what the average crime rate was for a city of that size. Extremely low. Why? Well, let's see. If you're a guy, you're a bad guy, and you want to hold up somebody, you got possible victim A over here on the left who is armed, knows how to use his weapon, and you got possible victim B over here who is basically a snowflake. Please don't hurt me. Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Take everything I've got. I'll give you my underwear. I'll stand here naked if you want. Just don't boo-hoo-hoo-hoo hurt me. You're not allowed to have that gun. Right? Who do you think that criminal's going to go after? You think he's going to go after possible victim number A, or letter A, who is armed and knows how to use his weapon? Or do you think he's going to go after victim B, who has his head bowed down and begging for mercy and has no way to defend himself, doesn't even have the integrity to know that he has the power to do so? Just bow down at his feet and kiss his shoes. Who do you think that criminal is going to pick on? Now, if they are, and I mean by them, they, meaning the people who are supposed to be our representatives, are in a continuous fight to disarm us, who's the enemy? First thing that happened in New Zealand, they're talking about more gun control. Already got a lot of gun control, more gun control. Like, that's going to help. You know that in the UK, guns are very heavily banned in the very, very heavily restricted. That's a better word. That's a more accurate description. They're heavily restricted in the UK. So you know what the main problem is now? Oh, well, Rascala, we got rid of the gun problem. What is the purpose, according to these people who want to pass these laws? What is the purpose of restricting these firearms? Is the purpose to reduce the fatalities? Is the purpose to help other civilians remain safe so that these weapons are no longer, quote, on the street? Is it to reduce the mass shootings or stop the mass shootings that have occurred? Because if that is the purpose of all of that, then the purpose that they have in mind is absolutely, without question, void and null. The UK is having a major issue with people going around stabbing people. They've restricted the guns. Now people are reverting to the next weapon that's handy, a knife. So they're considering, as a matter of fact, there is a judge. You can't make this stuff up. There is a judge that wants to bring about legislation that all pointed knives, that's right, you heard me right, pointed knives, knives with a point, should be banned, should not be allowed. That knives should not be permitted on the person to be carried in public. So we got rid of the guns, we went to knives. Let's just say for imaginary purposes, they get rid of the knives. What do you think they're going to do next? Let's see, we got bows and arrows, right? We got rocks, and if all else, we got rocks. The first murder that was ever committed, according to the Bible, was done with a rock. There are people who are convinced that if we get rid of these items, these guns, if you will, that we all will be safer. When in fact, the truth of the matter is that we will be more at risk. And the logic behind that, simple. When you bring all of these rules and regulations into play, do you think the criminals are going to go, oh my God, they passed a new law, let me get my automatic weapon, go put it away? Honestly, do you think that these guys are going to go, oh, wait a minute, I've got to give up my weapon, they passed a new law? Who do you think is going to obey the law? That's right, the law-abiding citizens. So all you're doing is penalizing the people who are already obeying the law for people who are not obeying the law. What logic is there in doing that? How much safer is it knowing that you have completely disarmed the public, while criminals, hey, they get to pick and choose what they want. They're not going to listen to you. They don't give a damn about you and your stupid laws. Those are for the law-abiding morons, not for us. So those who propose to bring about more gun restrictions, more banning, whatever it is, understand that these people are betraying the oath that they have taken into the office that they have accepted the responsibilities for.
Please keep your phone on mute. I will get you on in just a
They are openly betraying you and me.
Participant on this Uber conference. Please hold while we wait for the others to join.
Now, I honestly thought that having these people in place, these senators in place, would help us achieve the forward motion that we needed in order to get some of this stuff cleaned up. And we got 12 of them, 12, who have slapped us in the face. And I say us, I mean those of us who believe that a wall is necessary this time and this place in this age. A wall is necessary. Somehow, predominantly on the Democratic side, however, there are Republicans as well, somehow, people who don't belong here are more important than those who are already here, paying into the system, working from the sweat of their brow to make things happen. They're not as important. How do we justify the actions of people who are supposed to be the representatives of the people? What people? Which people? What are we talking about? They're not representing American people. It's shameful that they behave in such a manner. It's more shameful that we allow them to do such a thing. You make no mistake about it. There's no question. We allow them, because if we decided really, finally, no, you know what, hit the fan, we decided we are going to remove these people, it would be no question in my mind, it would happen. But unfortunately, for whatever reason, we are distracted from the solution to this problem. And that is to rise up together and remove these people. I bite my tongue so hard when I talk about this stuff. It's disgusting. I don't know what bothers me more, them behaving in this manner or people allowing them to behave in this manner. There was a time in this country when that was even unthinkable, what they're doing. And they're openly broadcasting. There is a commission in Alaska, I think it is, that wants to remove the Second Amendment from the Constitution. You don't think that's dangerous? If they're treating us like this now and they know that we're armed, how the hell do you think they're going to treat us when they know that we have no way of defending ourselves? It truly is shameful. Senator Roger Wicker of Mississippi, area code 202-224-6253. Senator Lisa Murkowski, Alaska, area code 907-456-0233. Senator Mitt Romney, Utah, 202-224-5251. Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, area code 202-224-3041. Senator Pat Toomey of Pennsylvania, area code 202-224-4254. Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, area code 202-224-4343. Senator Rob Portman of Ohio, area code 202-224-3353. Senator Roy Blunt of Missouri, area code 202-224-5751. Senator Jerry Moran of Kansas, area code 202-224-6521. Senator Susan Collins of Maine, area code 202-224-2523. Senator Lamar Alexander of Tennessee, area code 202-224-4944. Senator Mike Lee of Utah, area code 202-224-5444. 12 of these no good for nothing, sewer sucking, backstabbing traitors need to be called on a regular basis. I'm going to find out how we can remove these people from office. This is no longer acceptable, and you and I can no longer allow this to continue to go on. Here in Florida, Senator Marco Rubio, I believe he's from a Cuban family, knows what it's like. Well, he doesn't know. I shouldn't say that. But I'm sure that his family knows. I'm sure that his mom and dad know. They came over here fleeing the dictatorship of Castro. They understood what communism is. I don't care what kind of label you put on it, socialism, whatever you want to call it. The bottom line is, it's everything for the state and nothing for you. We simply cannot sit idly by and say nothing. I won't. I'll be damned. I won't. I see this thing happening in New Zealand. Has every aspect of a false flag. And the first thing that happens, gun control. They have gone so far as to blame the president. Oh, it's the president. All he does is stir up hate. Just like those red hats, they say MAGA on them. They're racist. They're full of hate. It's like a gun. They talk about the guns kill people. The guns get up all by themselves and they walk around and they shoot people. And the hats are full of hate. They're just full of hate. When you see them, they're just full of hate. They just fill you with hate. All these asinine excuses. People, we better wake up quick, man. I'm telling you. I've been saying it for a long time, but I'll tell you what, I have never been more concerned now than I'm more concerned now than I was when Dipstick was in office. People are laid back. They think that, well, we got Trump. We got nothing to worry about. The hell you don't. Have you looked at the Congress lately? Have you seen how the Congress is behaving? You better step up, pal. You got a lot to worry about. And we got 12 Republican senators who have stabbed us in the back. I don't know how these people return to office time and time again, given the amount of information that we have now. It is beyond me, beside me. I just can't figure it out. Has anybody got half a brain out there to stop these people from going back into office again? You know, I want to say it's shameful, but who should be more ashamed? Them who are carrying on in this manner, or us who allow them? It's okay, let them keep going. It's okay, no big deal. Let them keep going. Let's vote him back in office. Oh yeah, he's running. Yeah, let's put him back. Let's vote for him. I don't understand it. I really don't. I know part of the problem is that it requires a lot of money in order to be in front of people's faces so often so that they remember your name when they finally get to the ballot. That I understand that's a vital part of the problem. I get that. But isn't the information that's being released on a regular basis? This man, Marco Rubio, here in Florida, has decided that we don't need a wall. It's okay. For whatever reason he has, we don't need a wall. When he knows, and I have no question in my mind, that there are at least 3/4 of the population who are here legally want that wall. What excuse could there possibly be from any representative that we are not going to build this wall and build it in a manner that will stop these people from coming over? I don't like what they have proposed, to be honest with you, this stick in the sand thing. I like one of the original walls that they had designed, multi-billion-dollar wall, but it had many purposes. It had a railway that ran on the top of it. It had different stations that you could stop off at. Completely different than what we have today. And I can't understand how people can just sit idly by and allow this to continue. I really can't. I thought I was frustrated a couple of weeks ago. I'm watching more and more happen. Oh, it's Hawaii, not Alaska. I think it was Hawaii. That wants to do away with the Second Amendment. I think it's Hawaii. I'm going by memory, but I think it's Hawaii. This is crazy. This is absolutely insane. I swear I think I'm in the Twilight Zone. How can this possibly be here in America? How is it possible? How is it? I don't know. Oh, that's how. Now I know where I'm at. I know exactly where I'm at. I have to play this repeatedly in my mind so that I know that I'm not living in reality. I'm living in the Twilight Zone. I'm living in a make-believe, some kind of crazy reality that everything that I could never imagine possible is happening. That's right. Because this is not the America that I fought for. This is not the America that my friends served and many of them did not return from war for. This is not the America, I am sure, this is not the America that our kids are out there fighting for. This is an America for corporations, for profit. It doesn't matter who is hurt. It doesn't matter who is killed. As long as the profits continue, as long as the same people stay in power. I think the president has his hands full. To be honest with you, I think the president is overwhelmed. Could you imagine being attacked every single day by almost every major media outlet out there? Every word that comes out of your mouth is criticized one way or another. It could be dark and gloomy overhead, and he could say it's getting ready to rain, and they would find some kind of negative way or make it look like he is an imbecile of some sort. He doesn't know what he's talking about, day in and day out. You don't think he has his hands full? People, it's time for us. Pitchforks and torches. That's what it's time for. That means it's time for us to get our butts up off of the couches and make some action, make some things happen. And that could easily be the lifting of your arm, picking up your phone, and harassing these people. Because without that, they just, hey, well, yeah, we can do what we want. Nobody's complaining. We should be calling these people repeatedly over and over. I've had people tell me, they're going to put you on a list, Rascala. You think I care? Do you think I care? I don't care. Put me on your stupid list. Because I won't sit idly by and watch you help destroy this country and say nothing. Not after all the friends I've lost, not after all the blood that I know has been shed. No, ain't going to happen. Not going to go down. Let's take a break.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show on the LNM Network. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
Grace has some pretty stellar arms, like Serena Williams good, but her face is pretty disgusting.
Someone please tell him to go back into his closet and leave us alone.
Brittany's face is so stupid and I hate her so much. It's like a scientist created her in a lab to annoy humanity and didn't even do that good of a job.
Megan reminds me of a troll doll that came to life intent on killing us with her stupidity.
Why is Grace's head so big? It definitely has nothing to do with how smart she is and probably everything to do with how bloated she is.
He's so funny. Just kidding. Who would find this disfigured flamingo funny?
Never post a selfie of yourself. You look so ugly.
The only reason you have so many views is because we think you're a freak and we can't look away.
Megan is the main reason that the world sucks so much.
I would rather get cancer than listen to another Trevor Moran song.
You are a mistake. You should have never been born.
Drown yourself in a shallow puddle, please.
Wow, I hope she's sterile.
These really stopped being funny a long time ago.
You're so much more than the things that people say about you.
Those people have no right to say cruel things to you to make themselves feel better.
It's okay that you sound different than everyone else.
That's what makes you so special.
We will not tolerate it.
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 Every day, people make me feel like I stand out simply because of the way that I look.
Every day, people make me feel small.
Every day, I face the cruel words of bullying.
And every day, people tell me that I'm brave for enduring this humiliation.
But we're not the brave ones.
It's the ones that say no to the bullying.
The witnesses.
And if we all join together, there's nothing that we can't do. We will no longer be the silent majority.
When we see bullying online,
We will let the world know that we're going to take action with the eye.
Now, when you see online bullying, there's something you can do about it.
Our actions will overpower cruel words.
I am a witness.
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 There is power in words.
But it's nothing compared to the power of the actions that we put behind our words.
Visit eyewitnessbullying.org to learn more.
I am a witness, and so are you.
I'm gonna stand by you.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
We have ignition. Strap in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Riscala, every Saturday night on the LNM Network from 9 p.m. to midnight. And now your host, Riscala.
All right, it is the Red Pill Reality Show. I am your host, Riscala. Thank you for taking time to tune in and allowing me to share with you the information. I know the last couple of shows have been rather frustrated, and I got to tell you, I think that I am kind of a barometer for what's going on in our country. I believe that our country is frustrated. I believe it's not just me that feels this way. That there are many who feel the way that I do, except that they're not taking the action that needs to be taken. They're not facing the responsibility that they have as a citizen. Yes, you have a responsibility as a citizen of this country. And that is to see to it that our representatives behave in a manner that represents us. Are they representing you? They're not representing me. If they're not representing me and they're not representing you, who are they representing? They're representing people who don't even belong in this country. Does that make any logical sense to any of you out there? Why in the hell are you remaining silent? So yes, I'm a little angry. Yes, I'm a little frustrated. Yes, there are other ways around this issue, but the very first thing that has to happen is for us to get up off of our duffs and start taking action. That doesn't seem to be happening, and it's sad. Because as long as it doesn't happen, these people accept it as their permission to continue doing what they're doing. And they're certainly not doing anything that is benefiting me. I won't speak for you, but I can tell you that 76,000 people across our border in 1 month. What do you think the percentage is of them that come across, of that 76,000, what do you think the percentage is that they're going to be on some kind of assistance program that gets paid by guess who? Meanwhile, we have veterans who have served for this country that are homeless. I'm tired of the insanity. And I don't know what I'm more tired of. People who see this going on but don't do anything about it. We voted for Trump. We did our spot, our part. Leave us alone. Don't understand now. You have become part of the problem. You have become part of today's problem because of your mentality and the way that you are thinking. You voted for Trump. That's all you needed to do. Now you go back to the regular old stuff. Hey, Trump will take care of everything. No, he can't. I've said many times, if the president could hang us or deliver us, it would have been done. Obama would have done. Oh, did I say that word? He would have done it all on his own. He had 8 years, and he did a jam-up job. One thing I will give him credit for, he did a jam-up job destroying this country. So one person can't do it. Beside the fact that we have responsibilities as citizens of this country. How about just responsibilities to each other? To sit back and watch what these people are doing and do nothing? What does that say about us? And many times some of these things that I'm talking about, okay, well, it's not happening in your state. What difference does it make? Do you think that it's just going to stay there wherever it's happening? Don't you understand that this is like a cancer? It starts one place, and before you know it, it begins to grow and grow and grow, and before you know it, it's exponential. The next thing we are looking at is it covers the entire nation. Mandatory vaccines. But just sit there and be quiet. It's okay. Nobody's going to bother you. Everything's fine. You don't have to worry about a thing. Because the government's going to save you eventually. The government's going to come in, and the government's going to be your savior and save you from all of these things. All you have to do is take their injection. All you have to do is submit all of your information to them and allow them to probe you so that you can become their little guinea pig. Anyway, I am honored and privileged because I know she's on the line with me. I'm going to bring Angel Strong on here in a minute. If you guys want to call in, if you got a comment or something, you can do that. Phone number 561-440-5174. 561-440-5174. Angel, welcome. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Riscala. I'm not going to monopolize the whole show, but I am going to chime in on a couple things.
Yep, go ahead.
Number one, with Marco Rubio, as you know, we're both South Floridians, myself included. And when you mentioned that his family escaped Castro, they were actually there even through Batista.
Wow.
So they know. I mean, you're talking a regime change for the worse, but still evil and evil.
Right.
So
out of the frying pan into the fire.
Exactly. So they're not guessing, and that's what's really surprising. And Marco Rubio is very smart. I don't know if this is trying to get a base up for himself, but it's just almost unbelievable. I don't even have words for it, but I do want to continue on to this shooting when you get a chance.
Yeah, I want to talk about that. Yeah, go ahead.
I smell a rat.
I'm telling you, same thing here. As soon as I heard about it, the moment I heard about it, I go, great, another false flag. And it has every making of a false flag. It's the first thing that happens after a false flag is they begin to talk about gun control. They don't talk about all the poor people and blah, blah, blah. No, the first thing is gun control. Right off the bat, that's what happened. And the same thing I see
They're going to try to convince some educated people that a man that is a white supremacist goes back and forth to Turkey and Pakistan vacationing for 3 years nonstop, back and forth to Pakistan and Turkey? Now, come on. I've been to those places. There are certain areas that you can visit, but not if you hate the people. And to have his name, do you look at his name? Brenton Tarrant. Come on. This doesn't even make sense. None of it. I'm serious.
To me,
they tell us things, but you have to look at what they're putting out. It was like in the LAX shooting in 2013, where the guy's name was Ciancia, CIA and CIA. That was his name. Okay.
I think in one of the Chinese dialects, that's thank you. See ya.
Well, you're not welcome. I mean, it's just insane. And we're supposed to believe that it was videoed when supposedly the Las Vegas shooter was in Mandalay Bay Hotel, and they can't come up with anything but some still pictures, when you can't even whisper at a baccarat table and somebody 4 doors down hasn't recorded you?
Yep.
None of this makes sense. How come they can never get pictures of things that make sense, but they always have pictures and videos and phone calls and travel manifestos for things that don't make sense?
Look at the Parkland shooting that happened here in Florida. There are videos in the school. You know, the schools have video cameras. Oh, but they were shut down, or there were supposedly they had been running a half an hour. And again, none of it makes sense. It was either that they were shut down, they're running behind somehow, or 30 minutes was deleted. Again, you know, so back to Watergate. The tapes have been deleted, Mr. President. I don't know. Again, this is the importance of remembering what's happened in the past so that you can compare it to what's going on today, because it's many of this is like a cookie cutter. It's just the same thing over and over with a slight twist, a different flavor, but essentially it's the same thing over and over.
I know, and I just cannot believe that people are so blinded that they can't really see that all of this makes no sense. I mean, I guess when you break down the word governmental agencies, they're governing our mental abilities.
That's right.
And if we cannot see what's going on, and President Trump is just trying to protect our borders when we're paying every other place in the uncivilized world to protect their borders with our money and our blood, no.
Twilight Zone. We're in the Twilight Zone. None of this makes any sense to anybody who has any degree of understanding of what's going on. Here we are. We're spending literally tens of billions of dollars to other countries for what? For their defense. We are absolutely turning our backs on ourselves. Does that make any sense to anybody? No.
I mean, we arm fighters not our soldiers, but
other
we
people,
arm other fighters in every other country.
Yep.
But we want to disarm the citizen. Everything that comes by my way, I have to have it be a Rubik's Cube, and all sides better line up or it's not finished. And none of this makes sense except for one thing, and you've said it, and I've said it till we're blue in the face, but it's gun control, push gun confiscation, which will, I mean, as if criminals are going to turn in their guns. We've beat this down so much. It's so ludicrous. Don't even want to waste my breath. It's so ignorant.
We're fighting a system with a lot of these people. You know, I think of the Matrix. The Matrix paralleled our reality in so many ways. They're walking down the sidewalk, the two main characters, and one of them says to the other, "This is one of our constructs," and you have to understand that these people are they're connected to the Matrix, and they're connected so strong that they will die in order to protect themselves. They don't know that they are part of all of this. They just believe in what they're believing in, and what they're believing in was a deception in the Matrix. The same thing here in reality. What they're believing in, they may believe it truly 100%, whatever it is that they believe, but doesn't mean that it's true. Doesn't mean that it's fact. It doesn't mean that that's the way it's supposed to be. It means that that's just what you believe. And if you don't wake up to the reality of what's going on, somebody who has a stronger belief in you that wants you dead you're going to find yourself in that situation. That's what we're getting to now. We don't really have much of a choice anymore. This shooting in New Zealand is supposed to be this white supremacist guy. They're blaming Trump now. This is how crazy the mentality is. They'll do anything to try to bring this president down. It would not surprise me, not that I'm saying it is, but it wouldn't surprise me if somehow this guy was paid to do what he did, and he'll disappear somewhere before it's all over.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Or he's a patsy. It's one of the two. because they can move in their professionals, have their professional do the job, have a guy all drugged up just like they did in the Colorado shooting. That guy the next morning couldn't even hold his head up. How the hell did he shoot 80 people the night before? He couldn't even keep his head up. So they can move in one of their people, a professional, do all the nasty work, and then put in a patsy. It's either he's a patsy or he's paid, and he'll disappear after a while.
I agree. I do think that somehow the truth will eventually come out, because Trump is going to expose a bunch of things, and I think it's coming quickly. There's no way that this just happens to be happening now.
Yeah.
I mean, now, and they didn't do it on U.S. soil to make it worldwide. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, everybody's going crazy. It's not just the U.S. citizens, it's everybody. So we have to control the whole world, a new world order. Not to be conspiratorial, but it's every sign is pointing to everybody across the globe wanting to make the citizens unarmed.
And that's what it's about. Did I lose you? Are you there?
Yeah, no, I'm here.
Right.
And when you talked about the Matrix and with your show being called Red Pill Reality, the red is conservative. And we're real. And the blue is the Democrats, and they're in Wonderland. I mean, think about that. That was in a movie, and we've talked about this. They have to tell us through some script of what they're doing. And that's another hint.
That's right.
And then you've got Richard Blumenthal. I don't know if you had heard a snippet. I know you don't watch television. I don't either to that degree, but I do want to know what the opposition says, because to have a legitimate argument and an intellectual one, you have to know what they think so you can even argue a point. But Richard Blumenthal from New York is, like you said, blaming Trump, that his rhetoric.
It's all Trump. Everything is Trump's fault.
Riscala, this is a guy that I know back in the day. He's married now to her, but he was dating her when she was 15 and he was in his 30s. He could tell everybody he wasn't. I was in that circle.
Wow.
People can check it out. This is pedophilia rings.
Wow.
Trump
Yeah, I remember when you mentioned that now. I remember something like that. Many years ago, there was a big uproar about that. That was quite some time ago, though.
I'm just saying, all these people that come out of the woodwork as holier than thou are dirtier than dirt.
Yeah, it's the there's an old saying about people in let's try that in English for Scala. There's an old saying about people in glass houses. They should not throw stones. There's a reason for that, because if you're throwing stones, stones can be thrown back at you. If you're living in a glass house, that's going to tear your house down, and that's exactly what's about to happen, I think. I think that's about what's about to happen.
I'm hoping, I know that you know this, but perhaps your listeners do, or some don't maybe, but you mentioned Obama and all the things that he did. Well, every single president has a Secret Service code name. It's given to them.
Right,
they have to approve it.
Right.
His was renegade.
Yeah.
And renegade by Webster's dictionary, not mine.
Yeah.
Webster's calls it traitor, defector, turncoat. I rest my case. That's it.
What's Trump's?
Mogul.
Mogul. Oh.
Which means, that he is a businessman and sometimes a landlord or an owner of property, a businessman, a successful, something like that. But it sure doesn't mean traitor to your country. And I tell people, trust me, if I go on Webster's dictionary and look it up yourself. And he approved it.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to let you go. But I'm fired up.
Hang in there. Hang in there. You can help add to the show tonight, because you always bring a unique perspective. I want to talk a little bit more about the New Zealand thing, because that is directly affecting us over here. This is going to be an excuse for more gun control. over there as well as over here. They're going to find a reason to work that in. From the time that these Democrats have gotten into office this year, that's one of their highest priorities, is to find a way to disarm us as a public. And we must do something to stand up and say, no, we're not going to put up with this.
What could they possibly do? To collect guns. I mean, tell me what they think they're going to do in gun confiscation. How is that going to work?
There are some who have threatened, now this is back in the days of Sandy Hook, but there were some that had threatened, we will go door to door. And one of the police officers disgustingly boasted about, I can't wait to go door to door and knock on your door, with one of the guys that was questioning about what happened at Sandy Hook. Yeah, so they some of these people are really, when we say these people are evil and twisted, it's not an exaggeration. They would, in a blink of an eye, they would put a bullet in you and not have to suffer a minute's worth of punishment because they happen to be on the other side. They happen to be on the side of, quote, law enforcement. There are many of them that think that way, and it's unfortunate. And it's going to be a difficult time getting it cleaned out. I think of it like you've got a bowl of spaghetti and you've got maybe 10 or 15 strands in there that are no good, and you just want to get rid of the no good strands. It's hard to do that without destroying everything else around you. That's really what we're facing today.
Yes, and I am a huge backer of law enforcement. And the problem is, and I've said this before because I was raised within, that lifestyle, that they want officers to be psychiatrists, marriage counselors, babysitters, psychologists, marriage counselors with a pay scale of nothing per se.
Yeah.
So I do understand there's a lot of stress, but there are very, very good ones. I don't know if that everybody would. First of all, you have to change laws. You can't just confiscate guns. So I guess you're saying at the legal level, they're going to try to do it by changing the laws for gun confiscation?
Yeah, even though it's against the oath that they took, because each one of them takes an oath, and a portion of that oath, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember it exactly, but I know this is relatively accurate. A portion of that oath is, you will defend the Constitution against all enemies, both foreign and domestic, to the best of your ability. Now, that is a statement saying that there is a piece of paper, there is a document that has some rules, for lack of a better word, a description, that are written on it, and you are to see to it that those rules are met. You're not to overstep your boundary over those rules. Your place in this whole scheme of things is to protect those rules written on that document. And if those rules say you're not allowed to do this, then you're not allowed to do that. If that rule says you will not infringe, that means that you're not allowed to do anything. Everything that they have done with regard, I don't care if it's for the safety, all the excuses that they have makes no difference. The technical portion of it is everything that they have done with regard to gun control is unauthorized by the Constitution. They don't have the authority to do it. The only reason that they're able to do it is because they have more gun power. That's really what it boils down to. If you don't do what we say, we're going to come after you with our guns and take your guns away. That's what they do. I mean, it's happened time and time again. Look at what happened.
So you're saying the use of threat, not the legal channel?
Both. They'll do it legally, and then they'll do the physical because now they have the right. Well, you see, we warned them, and he didn't. Look at Waco. What happened in Waco? Anyway, let me.
Are you kidding? I told you who babysat me was Janet Reno. That's why I even brought that up the last time.
All right, I got Fox News coming up, so we're going to do that, and then please hang on. Don't go away, okay?
Okay.
All right, it'll be just a second, and we're going to go to Fox News. I'm just waiting for the countdown here. A couple of more seconds. Anyway, yes, we'll talk a little bit about Waco. Look at what happened in Waco. This is a man that from everything that I gathered, it wasn't really out of the ordinary what he was doing. He was saving guns, right? That was about it. And all of a sudden, we have a mass murder. And unfortunately, anyway, here we go.
Another New Zealand mosque massacre victim, the 50th fatality. I'm Jane Metzler, Fox News. Police in Christchurch, New Zealand say this victim was found inside one of the mosques, shot up Friday allegedly by a 28-year-old Australian man who admits that he's a racist. He was arraigned Saturday on the first of dozens of murder charges. A Staten Island, New York man now facing a murder charge in this week's fatal shooting of alleged Gambino crime boss Francisco Frankie Boy Cali. The suspect identified as
a 24-year-old male, Anthony Camello.
NYPD Chief of Detectives Dermot Shea says the shooting may not necessarily be mob-related and may have stemmed from a disagreement of some sort. Cali shot 6 times, then run over in front of his mansion on Staten Island. Your name doesn't have to start with a B to be a Democrat running for president. May help with the buzz. Biden, Bernie, Beto, Booker, Buttigieg. Just some of the Democratic candidates already launching presidential campaigns or thinking about it. Former Vice President Joe Biden has yet to announce, but he headlined a party fundraiser tonight in his native state and sure sounded like a candidate.
The election in 2020, without hyperbole, is going to be the most important election this country has undergone in over 100 years. Not a joke. There's so much at stake. Our core values are being shredded. Our standing on the world stage is at risk.
77-year-old Bernie Sanders speaking in Nevada tonight.
When we fight for justice, it means that we will no longer accept 46% of all new income going to the top 1%.
This is Fox News. Popping balloons causing quite a scare tonight on the University of Michigan's Ann Arbor campus, where authorities initially tweeted there was an active shooter in Mason Hall. Police searched that building, and after some tense moments, faculty and staff are no longer required to shelter in place. Some people in Nebraska staying in shelters after floodwaters forced them from their homes. Jim Bulkley is the mayor of Columbus, Nebraska.
For 3 days, we were an island by ourselves. We could not get in or out.
Melting snow from the recent bomb cyclone causing a levee to break. 1 person dead, 2 still missing. Michael Jackson's daughter denying a report she tried to commit suicide.
TMZ is saying that Paris Jackson was released from the hospital after attempting suicide at her Los Angeles home. But the 20-year-old took to Twitter calling TMZ blanking liars, adding lies, lies, lies. The site claiming the cause of her distress was fallout from the documentary Leaving Neverland, which includes graphic allegations of child sexual abuse against her father. Meanwhile, a source telling People magazine that Paris had an accident that required medical treatment, but she's home and doing fine. Jane Fergus, Fox News.
A pair of daughters and then some. This Houston mom is about to be busy for a few years.
New mom Thelma Chayaka welcoming 6 babies into the world in just the span of 9 minutes. That breaks down to 2 sets of twin boys and 1 set of twin girls. All the newborns are reportedly underweight but in stable condition. That's according to the Women's Hospital of Texas. The newborns are receiving treatment there. Those studies show the odds of giving birth to sextuplets is 1 in 4.7 billion. Tom Graham, Fox News.
And I'm Jane Metzler, and this is Fox News.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show on the LNM Network. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Being a dad is an adventure full of special moments.
A cruise?
Unexpected moments.
I got this.
And even awkward moments.
Okay, Dad, thank you.
But every moment you spend with your kids, even the smallest moments, can make the biggest impact on your child's life. So take a moment to be a dad today.
There's a lot of fear in coming back to school. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I'm a 40-year-old man that walked in there to get his high school diploma. It was very hard for me, but the teachers, the counselors, they help you. One of the teachers was Miss Araceli. Miss Araceli, she gave me direction, Every single time I had a question, she'll put down whatever she's doing and she'll come over and she'll sit there with you until you get it. Thank you, Ms. Araceli. I know you make a difference in people's lives because of the person and teacher you are. I wanted to be here because I wanted to thank you for helping me get a beautiful gift. 50% of getting your high school diploma is walking through those doors. The other 50% is doing the work. Getting your high school diploma, it is a life-changing experience. It really is.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Have you ever heard of Audible? Audible is a website with hundreds of thousands of audiobooks. They're all high quality, easy to listen to, and, best of all, if you take advantage of a special deal that we've worked out for you, you can get one for free. That's right, a free audiobook of your choice in any genre, simply by going to audibletrial.com/openeyes and signing up for the free trial. It's simple to do, and it would support the shows that we bring to you, and hey, you get a free book out of the whole thing. So why not take advantage of it today? Go to audibletrial.com/openeyes and sign up for the trial.
Ask 10 different scientists about the environment, population control, genetics, and you'll get 10 different answers. But there's one thing every scientist on the planet agrees on. Whether it happens in 100 years, or 1,000 years, or 1,000,000 years, eventually our sun will grow cold and go out. When that happens, it won't just take us. It'll take Marilyn Monroe, and Lao Tzu, and Einstein, and Morobuto, and Buddy Holly, and Aristophanes, and all of this was for nothing. Unless we go to the stars.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
While other stations just talk a good game, we win it.
Hey, sounds like somebody's having a lot of fun.
Or the way this state line looks in my rear view. This highway reminds me of you. This empty seat beside me keeps calling out your name. And the way the taillights keep on shining on that life I left behind me. Every mile, every sign is reminding me why I ain't turning around this time. If you miss me already, ready, steal the keys to your daddy's car. Baby, come and get me, get me. I'm just out here chasing stars. I have come this far, and my gypsy heart will show you where I am. So catch me if you can. Catch me if you can. For you I drive a little slower, but there's no way I'm pulling over. 'Cause these wheels, they started rolling, and they ain't ever gonna stop. I gas it up, hit the road, got a long way to go, baby, burn the black top. If you miss me already, ready, steal the keys to your daddy's car. Baby, come and get me, get me. I'm just out here chasing stars. I have come this far, and my gypsy heart will show you where I am. So catch me if you can. Catch me if you Baby, come and get me, get me. If you miss me already, ready, steal the keys to your daddy's car. Baby, come and get me, get me. I'm just out here chasing stars. I have come this far, and my gypsy heart will show you where I am. Well, I have come this far, and my gypsy heart will show you where I am. So catch me if you can, and catch me if you can, if you can, if you can.
And that is Maggie Bow. Maggie is a young lady that I met when I was doing AM radio here in West Palm Beach. I had the honor of meeting her and playing her song on AM radio, and I get a kick out of her because I think at the time she wrote the song, she was 16 years old. She's a little older now. I think she's probably in her 18 or 19 years old. She's very popular here in the local area. I just lost my train of thought. She's going to be, she's going to be somewhere locally here. Maggie Bow, B-A-U-G-H. You can find her on Facebook. All of her music, I believe, is on any of the major music stores. That happened to be Catch Me. That's the name of her album. Her last album is Catch Me. She's just come out with a new song, and I'm one of those people who enjoy looking at the younger generation's skills. Those who are not afraid to step up to the plate, and this is what I can do, and I do it well. She's one of them. She sings and plays. I believe she plays several instruments, not just guitar. She plays the violin, and I think the keyboard as well. Very talented young lady, very, very nice voice. Anyway, Maggie Bow, B-A-U-G-H. You can find her on any of the major stores. We are back. I have Angel Strong with me on. We've been talking about a couple of things. The main thing that I really want to discuss a little bit more about is something that happened in New Zealand here, where an individual walked into a mosque and, from what we're told, was just kind of Swiss cheesed everything in there. And there's a big uproar about it. However, I don't hear a big uproar about what's going on with Christians. Christians are being slain every bit, if not worse, than this Muslim slaying. But I don't hear about it in the manner that I hear about what happened in New Zealand. There was a mass killing in Egypt, of all places. Angel, are you aware of that? There was a mass shooting in Egypt in a Christian church?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. The media has selective anger. And selective reporting.
That's what it's called. Okay. I couldn't figure out what it was called.
Constant. Listen, Christians are getting killed constantly in the Middle East and everywhere.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out what it was called. What is it again? It's what kind of anger?
Selective.
Selective. Yeah. Okay, I got to write
Selective.
that down.
They select what they're going to report, and they select if they're going to be angry about it.
Sad. And so many people follow it, just like the Pied Piper song, right? Follow me. That's
yes.
right. Wow.
But we have to really look at what this New Zealand storyline, and I'm calling it a storyline because it doesn't make sense. I want to know why he was going back and forth to Turkey and Pakistan.
Well, he hates those people. That's.
He
hates those people. That's why he's going there.
Simple-minded to believe that there's something that is just on the surface and something not deeper.
Exactly. There's a purpose. To me, the first thing was gun control, because it's the first thing I started talking about. The first thing I started hearing about.
And Rascala, why does it start out with the word white supremacist? Where do you hear brown supremacists, black supremacists? You can't even, when somebody of color does something, you have to search for a picture to see.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really do.
Or a Muslim.
I had said that thing with George Zimmerman. If he would have gone out and done anything under the name Jorge, we would have never heard all this hoopty-law. And his mother was almost as dark, and still is, almost as dark as Trayvon's mother. If people want to look at a picture, look her up. Look at George Zimmerman's mom.
Yeah.
She's
But it doesn't fit the
black,
agenda.
brown to black.
So we're on a continual attack, not only on Christians, but we're against white supremacists now. So is that an underlying meaning when they say white supremacist? Does that mean that they're Christian as well?
No,
is that an assumption?
It does not.
Okay.
They could absolutely be atheists because skinheads supposedly are white supremacists and hate Jews, hate Christians. Some, not all, but I'm stereotypically putting them into one box here. But let's get real about white supremacists are also known as Aryan. Have you ever heard that?
Yep.
The Aryan race.
Yep, that I've heard.
Aryan is the word Iran. That's where the term Iran comes from, means Aryan race. They are the Persian, not Arab. If you call them an Arab, you'll find yourself with just shoulders and no head because they don't like to be called Arabs.
Yeah.
They feel that they are
superior.
The Aryan race. You don't see anybody from the left screaming about Iran, which basically is the word Aryan race.
Yep.
Okay, I'm fired up. I'm not
listen.
going to take over your whole show. I want other people to call in because there's very smart people.
I'd like to hear from someone out there. Let's I'll put it back up. It's 561-440-5174. A couple of people in chat rooms, but everybody seems afraid to call in for whatever reason.
I know.
So some people are afraid to hear themselves on the radio.
I do kind of understand that people almost get nervous to call in, and I know people listen.
Yeah.
I mean, because I get emails.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you pointed out something I wasn't thinking about, and that was the white supremacist part of this thing, because you're absolutely right. The very first thing that they kept calling this guy is a white supremacist. Instead of just saying, a 32-year-old man, 6 foot, whatever, blah, 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 blah. It's a white supremacist, blah, 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 blah. So they're leading off with this continued attack against the white race itself, or people of light skin, which there seems to be a predominant attack on now. Seems to be the latest thing. Who was it that talked about all the white people? It was Oprah. Oprah was saying at one of her gatherings, she was saying all the old white people have to die in order for this. It wasn't
just at a gathering. She was doing a talk show. It might have been with Larry King or something like that. I'm not saying that you're wrong because she said it in other places, but the one that gets reported a lot, far be it from me to correct you, Riscala, but I'm just saying he notoriously said that just old white people need to die.
Yeah.
But, like we've said, she's got that company called OWN, Oprah Winfrey Network, I would guess.
Right.
And that's just NWO, the New World Order, backwards. So,
right. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw it. I went, oh, my God, look at that. Wow. Yes. In your face. Again, it's in your face. They don't care.
Yes, and they have to turn it around many times because that's just a part of it. But there's this white, you cannot. When somebody does something, like in the shooting at the Pulse nightclub, and that was a Muslim, you know how long it took to get a picture of him and his last name? It took forever.
Didn't they try?
And nobody said he was an Islamic jihadist.
Yeah.
And the one out in California, when he shot up the party, we didn't know what his name was. We couldn't find a picture of him. This white supremacist supposedly
immediately
was videoing everything.
Yeah.
I don't, no.
I saw what was supposed to be the video, and I don't know. Maybe those people really got shot. I don't know. I can't tell. But according to what I saw, And I don't want to be gruesome or anything, but I didn't see blood. I didn't. I would think that. I mean, according to the video, to what I saw, it looked like one person got shot multiple times, and they were laying on the ground
Yes,
as he
and
walked
I'm
by.
sure. I'm sure people got murdered. I'm just saying the story doesn't add up as to what the reason behind it was. To me, does not seem like hate. Like if I hate a restaurant, a typical a restaurant, I'm not going to frequent it. So I use that when I think about a guy that supposedly hates a group of people. He's going to spend thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to hang out with them.
Right.
No.
It's a setup. Again, this guy's either a patsy, or he's, you know, do you honestly think that this young man, I can't even think of his name, it's not even worth mentioning, but the young man who supposedly shot the kids here in Parkland, do you know when they found him, he was laid out in the grass. He was passed out, laid out in the grass. Do you know that? Were you aware of that? So how in the world is it that he shot all these kids? How is it that he did that? And then he shoots all these kids and he decides he's going to go pass out. And well, I think I'll just chill out right here in the grass, pass out. He was drugged.
Does this make any sense whatsoever? That whole story, and that did not make, none of that made sense to me either.
That was another ordeal that went down here in Florida in an attempt, again, for gun confiscation. I don't care what people can tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist and call me all kinds of names, but I'm telling you without a doubt in my mind that is exactly what that whole ordeal was about. People really died. I have no doubt in my mind. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a false flag. It doesn't mean that it went along with an agenda, and the agenda was to disarm this country, bits and pieces, little bites at a time. That's how you eat an elephant. You don't eat an elephant in one bite. You have to take a little bite at a time, and that's exactly what they've been doing. A little bite here, a little bite there, and before you know it, oh my God, how did we get to this position? How, in your greatest, wildest dreams, would you ever think that somebody within a representation of our government would suggest that we do away with the Second Amendment? And that's exactly what's going down now.
Riscallo, we see them trying to do a coup against our elected president.
That's right.
Nothing surprises me. A coup. So.
And what amazes me is that it's pretty much in the open now. There's little to nothing to be left with regard to doubt as to what was going on. How is it? Is the corruption that far and that deep that now that even in the open that there's nobody going to do anything about it?
We have to. That is the waiting game of finding out.
Well,
but
see,
we can see all the process with Trump. You know, with this Russian delusion that they have festered up. We know without a question that they knew from the beginning that they could not prosecute him, so they decided to persecute him. It's that simple.
Wow.
So everything that they're doing is just persecution because it will not lead to prosecution.
And, wow. It's, you know, I said earlier, I don't know what frustrates me more, knowing that this is going on, knowing that people have the audacity to do this, or knowing that people know that there are people who have the audacity to do this, but yet do nothing. Did that make sense? People who are doing it?
Of course it makes sense. We're frustrated because we want to see something done because it's clearly in front of us. Everything that
to me it is. I mean, you know.
Well, if you have eyes to see, it is.
Yep.
I mean, look, we have lost. Where is Ruth Bader Ginsburg? Where is she?
I really don't think she's alive any longer.
I know. Now, you know, yesterday was her 86th birthday. Now, everybody, and yes, I'm a code breaker. I've been breaking codes for over 40 years. But it doesn't take a code breaker to see her 86th birthday. She's been 86 because that's a code of getting rid of somebody.
That's right. I have you know what? You're so good about doing that. That got right by me. That got right by me. I didn't even think about it.
You've heard
That's
it.
right.
You've heard that expression.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
86.
Many times. Yeah. Oh yeah.
And her birthday celebration, 86, 86, 86. I mean, they flash these things in front of us as if they're subliminally telling us, as you have said on prior shows, that they must, whatever their code of dishonor is,
Yeah,
they have to tell us.
Yeah.
And they do.
Yep. It doesn't mean that they're going to tell us straight to your face, hey, I'm going to do this, but they got to tell us. And a lot of times it's encrypted. But if you know how to unencrypt it, just like you just picked it out just now, and it's right in your face. See, I didn't even think about that. It didn't even occur to me until you said that. I hadn't heard that term in a while, so it didn't occur to me. I remember that term quite well.
I just appreciate, I was actually teetering, should I call in the show like I had told you? I was thinking about it because I want other people to. I know that people, they get all nervous calling in.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of smart people that follow me, and I know how smart they are, and I know that they want this information. I wish that they would call. I'm really going to start telling people we want their opinions because I read them after we do a show. But it's coming up now to where if gun confiscation is what they're doing, and that seems
That's
like every single
push.
time
Yep.
that there is any kind of a shooting, like you said, it's a gun grab, more people die. Listen,
That's right.
Pascala, I'm not going
That's
to
right.
say from, yes, not from vehicles. I'm saying from pharmaceuticals. Listen to every commercial.
Oh.
If you take this pill, you may have a heart attack, you may have stroke, you may go blind, you may not walk. I mean, they're telling us it's probably going to kill you. So more people die through cancer treatments and drugs to prevent one thing but cause another. You don't hear politicians other than Trump saying, we got to put a stop to this. We got to grab these big pharma.
There were years, believe it or not, there were years that hammers killed more people than automatic weapons did, that were murdered. Hammers killed more people. Hammers murdered more people than semi-automatic weapons. I don't remember the year, but I think it was 15 or 16.
Over in the UK now, the knives, we're going to start giving out plastic knives.
And there's a judge that wants all pointed knives banned.
I know. So why doesn't he even go further and start pulling out everybody's teeth? So that way you don't even have to cut food with a knife.
So
Everything is soft. I mean, how insane. And you know the police, many areas over there do not carry guns.
I know. That's crazy. Because there are places, well, there are places that there are no go zones. We have them here in America as well now. No go zones, you know.
Yeah.
They won't go
I
in
mean,
there.
I know that you played All in the Family at the beginning with Archie about having everybody with a firearm. I mean, certainly we know bullets going through a fuselage, but if it would not be good. But I'm telling you, I don't know why everybody isn't carrying a animal dart gun and tranquilizer in it.
That's an idea. There's an idea, maybe for a new
I
product.
mean, all these police are afraid to even pull a firearm because they're going to go to jail. If they shoot somebody and it turns out that it was misconduct, I mean, some don't, but some are afraid of that. They let a lot of crimes go, and then somebody else is going to get killed from the criminal that the police couldn't shoot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a catch-22, but I say load them up with some tranquilizer guns and have them laid
There's
out
an
like...
idea. Figure out a way to make a tranquilizer bullet. So it just fits in the gun.
Yeah.
It already fits in the gun. It's just made up, to be a tranquilizer. If they really tick you off, you shoot them 4 times. That really puts them put out. Don't wake up for 4 days. Just make them sleep.
Right.
That'll get them to cool down.
Of course, then we would get sued that they became addicted to the tranquilizer, and now we've got to pay for their tranquilizer drugs for the remainder of their life. And you saw in California that now the death penalty for murderers is being removed.
Yeah, but it's okay for the babies.
Yes.
It's okay for babies.
I mean,
even after the baby's
yes,
born, it's okay.
protect the criminal but murder the innocent.
Again, honestly, when it's all said and done, people might be upset with me for saying this, but we got nobody but ourselves to blame because we're allowing this to go on. There's enough of us. There's so many more of us than there are of them. And these are supposed to be our representatives. Now, if you feel that this person who's doing these kind of things is passing these kind of crazy laws in California, I don't know how they get away with it. Mandatory vaccines they passed there. The abortion we've already talked about. Some of the craziest things I've heard of are going on in California. And I know from my experience, a lot of time it starts there and it just kind of moves on over to the west, to all the other states.
Yeah. Riscala, one day I would like you to have on, without me, but with her. Her name is Janet Porter. And she actually was the writer of the original 18-day heartbeat bill. She's a very good friend of mine.
Wow. Yeah,
She
I would
wrote it
love to
for
have her
Ohio.
on. Yeah, I'd love to have her on.
And she's brilliant. She's brilliant, and she has a very good command of everything that's going on with the abortion. She's the leader of many of the bills that are trying to get passed. But you've heard of the 18-day heartbeat bill?
Yeah, that's once they determine there's a heartbeat, they want to ban the abortion at that point, right?
Yes, once the heartbeat is heard. And she originated that
God bless
years
her.
ago in Ohio.
Yeah.
And like I
Yeah.
said, I love her. I mean,
I'd
we
love to have her
vacation-
on. This is a subject that we really need to discuss because you'll see, or you're probably very well aware already, as soon as the subject comes up with many people, emotions become just uncontrollable. You need to be able to have the discussion and put your emotions aside for a minute and look at the facts and stop being misled about what this really is, because what it is murder. That's really what it is. That may be offensive to some people, but that's not what my intention is. My intention is to tell you the truth. It is murder, because whether you've been early on in the show, I said some people believe something. They believe that what they believe with all of this that they have. That doesn't mean what they believe is true. This is one of those examples. People have been misguided as just a fetus. You take a look at what a fetus is. My personal opinion is an abortion should not be a matter of legality. Should not be legal, shouldn't be illegal. If you want an abortion and you're, say, 10 or 12 weeks pregnant, then you should be required to sit down and watch a video of a 10 or 12-week-old aborted fetus, if that's what you want to call it. And then if you want to continue, then it's on your blood. It's on your heart. It's on your back. If you want to continue, there's no excuse that you didn't know what you were doing, that you were misled or you were misguided or you were deceived. You watch that video, and if you still heartless enough to continue, then so be it. Then you go ahead and do it. But I don't think law should have anything to do with it.
But Riscala, the left Looney Tunes will be protesting.
Oh, I know.
Or let me correct that, demonstrating about my body, my rights, and show like a baby, like we've seen, the pictures. They're proud to show those pictures. And as soon as that stops, that demonstration, they attend another demonstration, switch T-shirts that say, "Stop separating families at the border." I mean,
see, this is what frustrates me.
Change in a restroom.
This is what frustrates me.
So we're dealing with people that are simple-minded.
I can't understand how people can't see that. How can you not see that? Or if you mess with an eagle's nest, or you mess with the eggs from an eagle's nest, you can go to prison for that. Or God forbid, here in Florida, a turtle's nest. We have these endangered turtles. Mess with one of their nests and you'll go to prison. But it's okay to wait for a baby to go through the entire birth process, come out of the birth canal, and it's okay to kill that. And we're happy, and we unapologetically say to you, we demand, we have this right and we demand it. That's a lot. That's a lot.
I know. It is hard to comprehend that, and like I had said before, and like you've agreed, and the listeners, why is Scott Peterson in jail for 2 murders? That's all I have to say.
Yeah. If it were really a woman's body, like they claim, my body, my choice, then why is prostitution illegal? Because if it were your body, your choice, then you could choose to go be a prostitute, and that should be legal.
Well, you have to realize that, first of all, my body, my choice. There is a man that helped make that baby. What's his choice? It's part of his body is the new part
That's
of a
right.
new body.
That's right.
So I hope that men start suing, because why is it that the man right now really has little to none? Maybe they're starting to step up on that. But the man had no choice about his wallet after the baby's born, because the court steps in and says, now you have no choice, you have to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So why before the birth, why does the woman have the right to say, my body, my
100%.
choice, and
Right.
after the baby is born, if the baby's lucky to be born, then the man's wallet becomes a factor in it, if he had no choice prior. So,
I agree.
oh my gosh, I got to let somebody else call in, because I don't want to be on a tirade. I love the show.
I agree. And the sad part about all of this is that a majority of these abortions that go on are in very low income neighborhoods, very urban neighborhoods, people of color neighborhoods. The majority, there are, one statistic I saw was showing that the people of color, or African Americans as some people refer to them, I've always referred to them as people of color, or black people, or not black people, excuse me. Oh, no, I can't think of the word. Anyway, people of color was one. I've always thought of them as a, what's the right word? An increasing part of society, and they're actually decreasing. Their component in our society is going down because the majority of aborted babies are African American babies, or African American.
And that was what Planned Parenthood said. It was planned to not have parents in the hood.
Yeah.
That's basically what that means.
Wow. See, again, in your face.
We know what Sanger said. She said it. We don't. It's not like we're guessing here.
Yeah, yeah. She called people of color like weeds, if I recall.
Yes.
And they needed to be exterminated, I think is the word she used, if I'm not mistaken. If it wasn't exterminated, it was a word every bit as strong as exterminated.
Right, almost like how an exterminator would come out and exterminate your weeds.
Right.
You know, you just spray whatever the disinfectant or the weed killer on it, and it's gone.
Right.
But we also have to realize that with the money factor now, because with stem cell and all of this stuff that's going on in the baby parts, we've gone through this, but now it's turned into a moneymaker.
That's the sad part. So much of this is all about nothing more than money, nothing more than the profits. And I think we can turn it around, but I think it can be turned around only by the people. We have, for example, I saw, and I don't know if this is accurate, Amazon did a little over $11 trillion in profits, I think it was, and didn't pay any taxes. So who's helping support Amazon is whoever is helping support Amazon is whoever is helping them get to continue to do this. In my personal opinion is we should come up with a flat tax for corporations. It doesn't have to be a lot, but no matter what you do, we take a flat tax out of your net profit. That way there's no ifs, ands, or buts. What I've seen in these corporations is they have so much money, so much financial power that they'll literally invest more money into having lawyers and stuff like that so they don't pay taxes, and they would just end up just paying the taxes. I've seen it time and again. It's really silly, but that's what they do. They will invest in all kinds of lawyers and financial specialists who will write this and that and the other off so they don't end up paying taxes, and they'll end up paying these people more in some cases than they would have. Just pay your taxes and be done with it. You know, I'm not a tax fan. I don't like the idea of taxes, but I'm just saying as an example. Then you have.
No, I do too. I like, the fair tax, the flat tax. I mean, we all know that the IRS, that's the IRIS, that's the iris of the eye. They watch everything, which is why BHO Obama wanted them to have our health records.
Yeah.
What does the IRS have to do with our health insurance?
He wanted
Come
to arm.
on.
He wanted to arm them as well, which I think previously they weren't armed, but he wanted to arm them as well. The IRS is a Puerto Rican corporation. It's the collection agency for the Federal Reserve Bank. But yet, look at the authority that they yield. How many people are afraid of the IRS? You just mentioned the IRS and they begin to quiver, especially if they have a business or something, because they can make your life miserable. Yet really they don't have the authority, but yet they get away with it. The perception is so great with these people. This is how they deceive people. The Federal Reserve has nothing to do with our government.
That's totally true. And like I said, I call them the iris instead of the IRS because they're watching everything from the iris of their eyes. And people are mortified. But the limitations that they do have, most people do not know. So they live in fear.
Yeah. And the banks don't know it. Well, I guess banks may know, but I don't think the banks understand either. Or maybe the banks do understand it. They don't have any choice because, especially if it's a Federal Reserve branch bank, or if it's what do they call that? I can't think of the association. So maybe they don't have a choice. Maybe because they're part of the association of banks that they have to do when the IRS says freeze this person's account, they have to freeze the account because they really don't have the authority to do that.
Right. And, as speaking of that, we've talked about this before, but as far as President Trump using every legal loophole to pay as little, that's a good businessman.
Yeah.
He paid some. But I want somebody that knows how to use the legal system.
You know that they leaked some of his tax returns a while back, right? Do you remember that?
Yes.
And he ended up paying a lot more than they were thinking. They thought he wasn't paying anything, and he ended up paying quite a bit more than they thought.
I know Rachel Maddow was just like drooling at the horse bit that should be in her mouth. I don't know. She's girl, boy, hobbly hoy. I can't tell what she is. But they all want to come down on him. He's doing so much better than anybody else did for paying taxes. So he used the legal system. I mean, you want CPAs that find the legal ways to have the least amount of tax but pay your share. I mean, we don't want somebody that's just
why I think just a flat tax would make it so much simpler for everybody. It would be so very simple.
Yeah.
5%.
I agree.
5% of if the corporation's 5% of your net profits, because then you get to write off all your stuff that you get to write off. So 5% of your net profits, or depending upon the corp, maybe 10%. And a flat tax for everybody else. I know technically the tax on the sweat of our brow, that is the definition of slavery, and that is unconstitutional. But they get away with it because of the perception that they have. But if they're going to tax us, I think in order to make it fair for everybody, just make it a flat tax for everybody. Find that
that
number.
I agree 100%. I've thought the same thing, said the same thing. I mean, most people are just driving a car to an office to pay for the car, to pay for the gas, getting a paycheck, to pay for the car that took them to the office, to take them home to a house that they're paying for, to pay back for the car, to go to the... I mean, it's just like a hamster wheel. It is.
It is in many, many ways it is. And some people get away with, paying nothing at all, while other people work every bit as hard, maybe harder, and they end up paying quite a bit. And it's some. I'm thinking of something personal that just happened. Someone that I know was supposed to get $8,000 back on their return, and they ended up not getting any of that back because they didn't realize that they owed money for a student loan previously, and that student loan had never been fulfilled. So they ended up. That was a big slap in the face to them. So how is it that
and let me tell you something, Briscala, I don't want to cut you off, but I got to throw this in there. This is like a left hook followed by a right cross, because most illegal immigrants get free tuition. I'm not guessing.
No. That's what I was about to say. How fair is that when people come here who come here against our law? They've already broken the law by being here against our law, and yet they get treated in a completely different manner. They get all of their tuitions and stuff taken care of. Meanwhile, this individual had to work hard, and that wasn't all that. I mean, that was the balance of what they owed on their student loan. Originally the student loan was quite a bit more, but they had been paying it off, and they were just having a hard time, and they weren't paying it off, I guess, fast enough. And so when it came around to getting a refund, they didn't get a refund. They got a goose egg.
Gosh, I mean, I know that's disappointing and it's heartbreaking because a lot of people look forward to that at the end of the year, and especially knowing, like you had said at the beginning of the show, that so much of our money gets given to illegal aliens that get paid to come here when we have veterans sleeping on benches.
That's not acceptable.
If they can find a bench.
Yeah. And now they're doing.
It's
did you see them?
We're gonna have to.
Did you see the insanity that they're doing to the benches? They put a little bump in the middle of the bench so you can't sleep on it.
Yes, I know. I'm very familiar. I told you that when you mentioned 3M, I could do nothing about 3M doing the bumps, but yes, I'm very familiar with advertising and bus shelters. And I won't get into it, but people were starting to live in the plexiglass bus shelters.
Wow.
And to stop them from living in there, they put between, like, 3 people could sit, but then like a hoop.
Right.
Like an arm hoop,
Yeah.
so they can't lay down in them.
Right. Yeah. It's like there's no empathy at all for what's going on. There was a man, his name eludes me. He just recently passed away. He's 93 years old when I talked to him. And he was feeding the homeless down in Fort Lauderdale. They arrested this man repeatedly for feeding the homeless. And the excuse...
Yeah, I saw that.
The excuse that the police gave was that, well, we can't have all these people around here. They poop and they pee everywhere. Well, why don't you provide something for them? Obviously, these people, they're down on their luck. There's nothing left for them. So this man steps up to the plate and helps feed them. You find a negative in it. Why can't you bring a positive out of it? Before it was all over, the man had been arrested several times. I got to interview him one time, but he asked that I did not air the interview. At the end of the interview, he said, I think I've changed my mind. I think I'd rather not. He's a very gentle man. You can imagine he's in his 90s when I spoke to him. I think he's 93 when he passed away. I think it was 90 when I talked to him. Very nice, very gentle, very cordial. He felt that this is what God had led him to do. That he wanted to fulfill this for nothing more than his fellow man. And in turn, he got arrested repeatedly.
The epitome of no good deed goes unpunished.
How true.
Really.
How so true. Yep.
Well, I totally love the show and you. So I will sign off and let people call in. And I know they're in the chat rooms because
I see a couple of them down here.
Know.
I do. Yep. They're all chicken. Buck, 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 buck.
Well, if you're not familiar with being on a show, I can remember a gazillion years ago when I wasn't, and you would get white-knuckled and all nervous as if they're, judging you. But it is for people that are not familiar with how easy it is. It is a nerve-wracking thing at first, but hopefully
just call in. We won't.
We need help.
Yeah, we won't bite hard anyway.
Right. And speaking of biting hard, I've got to tell you this. Did you hear that Beto O'Rourke, have you heard the big fray about that he had written, that he had fantasies about running over children?
It was supposedly a dream. The article I read is he had a dream where he wrote, I had a dream where I was driving down, I'm paraphrasing, I had a dream where I was driving down the road and I saw 2 kids and I put my foot down to the accelerator, meaning he put it to the metal. And I remember hitting the 2 of them and one of them crying out in pain. And then I stopped and savored the moment of sweetness or something like that.
Now, okay, that crosses the line of weirdness for me.
That's a sick, twisted...
Really?
Ugh.
I mean, now we not only have to deal with pedophiles, but now we've got to deal with pedal to the metal running over kids as a fantasy and a dream.
How sad. And this person wants to run for president of the United States. And he was arrested for a couple of things. I have to look at the post up on my Facebook page on the Red Pill Reality Show on Facebook. But, yeah, he's arrested for a couple of things.
I think one was a DUI and maybe, I know one was either DUI or DWI was one of them.
Oh, we have such a great choice of people.
Well, just I'm going to continue listening to the show, and it's
thank you.
Always a pleasure, and I appreciate you, Riscala.
You're welcome to stay on the whole time if you want. I love having you on, but I'm going to leave that decision up to you. But yes, thank you for taking the time to call in.
Well, I just love it. I want to listen to it, so you just enjoy the rest of the night. And I'm going to be also typing about it.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Angel. That's Angel Strong. You can find her on Facebook. And while we're talking about Facebook, let me ask those of you who listen to go on Facebook and give us a like and mention us to other people. Kind of spread the word around, if you will, as one of the places that you can find some information that you might not just be able to find anywhere else. And we're always looking for supporters. We have a network that is what we call subscriber-based. It is let's try that again. It's a subscriber-supported network, but you can't say that 5 times. And so we always look for subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, and please know that I don't ask anything of you that I don't do myself. I am a subscriber to this network. I have been a subscriber from the beginning. It is one of the unfortunate things about our society is that it requires this thing called money in order for us to be able to have electricity to run our electronics so that we can have a radio station and then reach out to other people. So there are some things that, typically are unavoidable, and those are called bills. We need all the help we can get, to be honest with you. We're not in this for the money. That should be very obvious. We ask, I think it's $5. I may be wrong. I'm on auto pay, so I don't even look at it anymore. But I think it's $5 for a month. You get the most bang for your buck by being a subscriber. Or you can make a donation if you just want to make a donation. That's cool. But I can tell you that this is one of the few places that the money that you invest in us comes directly back to you. It's not a place that we're looking, oh man, we're going to make all this money with all this. No, it doesn't work that way with us. I won't speak for Michael, but I know Michael would agree with me when I say to you, this isn't about money. This is something far more important. This is about people. This is about our lives. This is kind of, in a way, very a selfish motivated thing, because if we can find a way where society benefits, all of society benefits, then I get the benefit too. You get the benefit, but I also get the benefit. So in a kind of a selfish way, it's a motivation for me. And for my kids. I'm a father. I'm a granddad. I have numerous grandkids. I want to see this place better than it was when I first came in. I've watched a deterioration in this country over the past, particularly 8 years, but really over the past several decades. A gradual deterioration. The last 8 years was, if you could graph it, it would be almost like a line going straight down. Just horrible. I'd like to be able to repair some of that to whatever extent is possible while I'm here. And that's what I do. That's why I do that's why I do the radio. That's why I try to associate myself with people like Angel. Angel is an extremely well-educated young lady who is well-rounded in her education. She doesn't know about just one thing. She knows about some of the stuff. She even surprises me. So many things that she knows about. She has met with some very, very famous people, and she won't tell you that. She doesn't boast about it, but she has. She's met with some very influential people, and again, she doesn't boast about it. But she uses her experiences in order to help other people go through life and experience a better life. She's one of the things that she told me, that I don't remember how many different countries she's been in, but she can tell you it's been quite a few. There's no place better than this place. With everything that is wrong here, there's no place better than this place. And if we don't take care of what we have, it won't be very long before there will be places better than this place, because we're on we're on that avenue right now. We're on that road. We're on that track, if you will. And it's not the president's fault. This is something that has been going on for long before the president ever came into play. This has been something that's been going on for a very long time. The evil that is on this planet goes back thousands of years. I believe it's the same. And shoot, I wish she would have hung on for a minute, because it would have been a good question for Angel, because this is another area where her expertise is phenomenal. I believe it's the same bloodline that has been creating the havoc all along, all of these thousands of years since the days of Christ. I think it's the same bloodline. It's been kept within the family, if you will, and it's been over and over and over again. And I'm hoping and praying that we have reached a point in a time that bloodline is coming to an end, that the power that bloodline has yielded is coming to an end. I think if not, then it was going to be bruised, and it's going to be bruised very badly. Because on the next hour, I'm going to share some things with you. And this came off of mainstream media. I have a clip of, I think it's NBC, and it's NBC reporting about what is happening with the Clinton Foundation. I also have a clip of Lindsey Graham, and this is just very recently. Lindsey Graham's speaking before the rest of the Congress there. I think it's the Congress or the Senate. I'm not sure. I think it's the Senate. Anyway, Lindsey Graham speaking about what's going on and what's happened with, is there a dual system of justice for us here in the United States? Is there one who serves the common people and one who serves the people who have what we call power? And if there is, the people are frustrated. So I'll play that for you as well. There are some good signs, that things that are going on, but there's some very concerning signs with things that are going on as well. As I mentioned to you, I think it's Hawaii that wants to present a legislation to remove the Second Amendment. Now, if you don't think that is serious, I don't know what to say to you. You don't have a grasp, I guess, it might be something to say. You don't have a grasp of the importance of each one of those amendments. And they were carefully, methodically, I can't even think of a word to describe how well they were thought out before they were placed, each and every one of them. The wording was thought out, carefully thought out, methodically thought out. What if this, what if that? No, this has to be, it needs to be. They used words such as infringement or infringe. That covers a wide aspect of things. They used a word such as arms. They didn't say guns, they didn't say cannons, they didn't say airplanes, they didn't say anything of that nature. They said arms. Understanding that everything that they had may at one day completely change and be something else. And when it was originally written, it was meant to be that the civilians, the citizenry, would be every bit as armed as the government. Otherwise, you have an imbalance. And that's what we're suffering from today. We have a government that will threaten you with your life and has bitten away bits and pieces of our rights, our God-given rights, that have been documented in a thing called the Constitution. And one of those God-given rights is the ability to defend ourselves. And that is under an extreme attack, unlike anything I have ever seen before. And it disturbs me because it seems as though people are asleep. They just don't, seemingly, doesn't seem to be a big deal. When in fact it is a very big deal. It's not a matter of politics. It's a matter of our lives. It's a matter of what and how are you going to define freedom?
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show on the LNM Network. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
What's up, Ricky Dillon here at the largest social media gathering in the world. So the internet is an amazing place, but sometimes it can be a not so great place with online bullying and trolling and stuff. Have you ever seen online bullying before?
Unfortunately, it's kind of common. Online, people can hide behind the internet. Those comment sections can be a little
harsh.
Yeah,
definitely.
That's a good word for it.
I've been called many homophobic names.
I felt embarrassed. I felt humiliated. It made me stop liking myself.
What if I told you there is something that you can use anytime that you see bullying online that calls attention to it in a nice way? Like, hey, that's not nice.
I wish that was the thing.
It's this! So anytime that you see any kind of hate online, go into your phone, go into the symbol section, post this I, and it says that that's bullying, that's not nice. So would you post this if you saw someone bullying someone?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's like a lot more mature way to handle the situation. Find the emoji in your phone, send it to 5 of your friends, and let them know what it means to be a witness.
Go to eyewitnessbullying.org to learn more about the emoji.
Thinking of moving? Before you do anything else, call Diane Whittick of Bowen Realty. She provides a concierge service. Things like having your home or condo packed and shipped, even take care of your home repairs or upgrades. Diane has the expertise to get it done. As a seller, you will have constant contact. She will furnish you with bids on any services that might need completion: air conditioning, plumbing, handyman, and even cleaning. Living up north and have a home to sell here in South Florida? Just give her the keys, address, and a signature. Your payment will be wired when the property is sold. That's right, Diane does it all. Thinking of buying? Diane has great listening skills. Tell her what you want, give her your budget, and like a genie, she will make your real estate wish come true. There's no regrets when you choose Diane Whittick of Bowen Realty. To reach Diane, call 561-247-5478. That's 561-247-5478. Diane Whittick at Bowen Realty, located in Wellington at Wellington Trace East and Forest Hill Boulevard. 561-247-5478.
We just finished dinner and it was time for homework. He hates homework.
It makes no sense.
I don't know how he finds anything in his backpack.
I can't find my backpack.
I couldn't even read his handwriting.
Holding the pencil makes my hand hurt.
I know he's bright.
Why is it so hard for me?
He's
I'm
just
trying
gotta
as
try a
hard
little
as
harder.
I can.
When you can see learning and attention issues from their side, you can be on their side. Go to understood.org, a free online resource with support and tools to help your child thrive.
Do you have an unusual pet? Did you know that the Rainforest Clinic in Loxahatchee specializes in exotic pets? They see pets that other vets don't. Parrots and chickens, ducks, geese, turtles, snakes, goats, pigs, lizards, and even monkeys. Are you a beekeeper? Dr. Clubb, the first of her kind in the area? Yes, she takes care of bees as well. Dr. Susan Clubb has decades of experience and known around the world for her reputation as a premier avian vet. Located at 3319 E Road in Loxahatchee, just a short distance north of Okeechobee Road, you will find a modern clinic with in-house labs, which allow you to get your test answers quickly. You can find them online at www.susanclubb.com. That's www.susanclubb.com. Or you can reach her at 561-795-4878. It's Dr. Susan Clubb. That's 561-795-4878. The Rainforest Clinic located in Loxahatchee. 561-795-4878.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland. And I I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Liz Scala, every Saturday night on the LNM Network from 9 p.m. to midnight. And now your host, Liz Scala.
It is a Red Pill Reality Show. An honor and a privilege to have you listen in on Saturday nights. Every Saturday night, 9 to midnight, I'm here doing my thing in hopes that we get some word out there and maybe give some people an incentive to form change, bring about a real change, a positive change. And we've already had a change, my God. So to not just bring about a change, but bring about a positive change, bring about a change that will benefit everyone, and not just a small group of people, which is what has been happening for so very long. I think we've reached a point now where many of the people are frustrated with what's going on. They've witnessed that there what seems to be, at least on the surface, what seems to be a dual-purposed justice system. If you have a particular name, if you hold a particular office, if you're in a particular part of our government, it seems as though that you can break the law with impunity. Nobody's going to punish you. Seems. Well, I believe there's a change coming. I believe that well, let me play this for you. And you can make, I tell people, think for yourselves. I want you to hear what I've come up with. First one I'm going to play is from NBC. This is a mainstream news outlet that I found online. I don't watch television, but I do search the videos. And this is a mainstream video that I found from NBC.
Over here, and we are following this breaking news out of Washington. Some serious allegations this morning facing the State Department.
That's right. According to internal State Department memos, the agency might have called off or intervened in investigation into possibly illegal and inappropriate behavior within its ranks, allegedly to protect jobs and avoid scandals. This concerns the time that Hillary Clinton was Secretary of State. We want to get right to NBC's Chief White House correspondent Chuck Todd with the latest. Chuck, good morning to you.
Good morning, Savannah. There's an old saying in Washington that the cover-up is worse than the crime. But in this case, both parts of it are disturbing. Allegations of prostitution and pedophilia, and allegations that those crimes were somehow covered up or not looked into. So the State Department this morning is having to respond to those claims and those investigations of misconduct by State Department officials, including by an ambassador and security agents attached to then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. And the allegations are that these investigations were whitewashed, quashed altogether, and that those orders came from high up.
NBC News has obtained documents related to ongoing investigations into some disturbing allegations involving State Department personnel and at least one ambassador. A State Department memo says the ambassador, quote, routinely ditched his protective security detail in order to solicit sexual favors from both prostitutes and minor children. The memo also says a top State Department official directed department investigators to, quote, cease the investigation into the ambassador's conduct. It's just one of what another document describes as, quote, several examples of undue influence from top state officials. On Monday, a State Department spokesperson not confirm specific investigations.
I'm not going to talk about specific cases, but I can say broadly that the notion that we would not vigorously pursue criminal misconduct in any case is preposterous.
A former investigator for the department's inspector general has complained to Congress and the media that the investigations have not been thorough because of the pressure from those high-level officials.
We take every allegation of misconduct seriously, and we look into it.
It was less than 6 months ago that another major internal investigation painted Hillary Clinton's State Department in a negative light. That scathing report on the failed diplomatic security procedures in the aftermath of the Benghazi attack.
What difference at this point does it make? It is our job to figure out what happened and do everything we can.
As we noted, the whistleblower in this case, a member of the Inspector General investigative team at the State Department, she's gone to Congress demanding an investigation, and it's our understanding Congressman Ed Royce, the leading Republican in House Foreign Relations, says he does plan on having an investigation, and no doubt hearings are probably going to come soon as well, Savannah.
But Chuck, where are we on this? Is at this point just allegations from one whistleblower? Have they been substantiated in any way?
Well, here's what it is. The whistleblower says that this report, that the internal investigation having to do with how diplomatic security even investigated these allegations, that's where this scathing report came from. It's how the investigators somehow dropped the investigations, including into this ambassador and onto some other deal, including on folks that were part of security detail. So the allegations themselves haven't been fully substantiated by us, but this Inspector General whistleblower believes that the evidence was clear, but the problem was the investigation wasn't done in time to find out for sure if this misconduct was happening.
More to come on this for sure. Chuck Todd, thank you very much.
So there you have it. Now, I think that some of the information that they got, based on the report that they're doing, came out of, possibly, at least came out of what I'm about to play for you next. And this is Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham standing before, I think it's the Senate, and bringing up the subject of, are there two different sets of rules? Are there ones for the peasants and one for the rulers? Or is there one set of rules for everybody? This is Lindsey Graham.
Senator from South Carolina.
Thank you, and I'll try to be very brief, sort of where I'm coming from here. We were told that Mueller may be imminently fired. The president said some things that were at times disturbing about the investigation. So I was asked many times, let's make sure we protect Mueller and let him do his job. So I first introduced the Special Counsel Independence Protection Act on August the 3rd, 2017, with Republicans and Democrats. To my good friend from New York, I think Mueller is just about done. To all those who are worried about Mueller not being able to do his job, he has. He's about to tell us what he found. There's a regulation that determines what is disclosed and how it's disclosed. I have all the confidence that Mr. Barr will be as transparent as possible. That regulation is specific. You can look at it for yourself. And I'd like to know as much as possible and share it with the public. However, I've also been consistent trying to find balance here. In February of 2018, I called for a special counsel to look at the abuses potentially by the Department of Justice and the FBI regarding the Clinton email investigation and the handling of the FISA warrant process against Mr. Carter Page, someone associated with the Trump campaign. So since 2018, I've asked a simple thing. If this stuff about Page and Strzok and Orr doesn't bother you, then that bothers me. Was there two systems of justice in 2016? One for the Democratic candidate and one for the Republican candidate, where the Republican candidate's campaign had a FISA warrant issued against somebody associated with it based on a document that was known to be unreliable, politically charged on 4 different occasions. That should bother every American. And rather than me telling you whether it happened or not, why don't we appoint a Mueller-like figure to look at how the Clinton email investigation ended up the way it did, what the tarmac meeting was all about between Loretta Lynch and Bill Clinton. I can just very quickly say to my colleagues, if the shoe were on the other foot, If the Republican Party had hired a foreign agent to go to Russia to investigate dirt on Hillary Clinton, gave it to the Justice Department, it was used on 4 separate occasions to get a warrant against somebody working with or associated with the Clinton campaign, all hell would pay. If a member of the Justice Department told the investigators, before you get the warrant, the person who is involved in collecting this information hates Clinton. If there were exchanges between an FBI agent and a Department of Justice lawyer talking about getting an insurance policy to make sure that Hillary Clinton's never elected, how much they hated Trump, it would be front page news all over the world. I don't know what happened between Trump and Russia, but we're about to find out, and we'll see if there's there, and we'll use a process to disclose it to the public. But I asked the Democratic leader to modify his request and allow my amendment to the desk to make a simple change, and every Republican will be with me if you wondered about how Republicans vote in the House, that this resolution be modified, calling for the Attorney General to appoint a special counsel to investigate Department of Justice misconduct in the handling of the Clinton email investigation and the handling of the FISA warrant process as it relates to warrants obtained on Carter Page, and to publicly release the results of those investigations he agreed to consistent with law. So I would ask the resolution to be modified in accordance with this.
Will the senator so modify his request?
Reserving the right to object. Mr. President, I'm deeply disappointed in my good friend from South Carolina. This amendment appears to be a pretext for blocking this very simple, non-controversial resolution.
Very simple, non-controversial resolution. What Lindsey Graham is asking is that you guys have spent all this time, all this money investigating Trump. Why haven't you spent the same effort investigating Hillary Clinton? He's asked for the people across the aisle to agree with him on that. And you see what the first thing he said? No. And that was Mr. Wonderful Schumer there. No, we're not going to go with that. We've already presented ours, and that's what we're going with. This is basically what he's saying.
420 members of the House voted for it. Congressman Jim Jordan, friend of the president, voted for it. Congressman Devin Nunes, friend of the president, voted for it. This resolution should pass the Senate in the blink of an eye. I have absolutely no idea why a member of this body would object to this basic level of transparency, whatever their concern on other issues. My friend from South Carolina says the report ought to be made public. Let's not stand in the way for other issues. He's chairman of Judiciary Committee. He can deal with that separately, but not block this resolution. So let the American people know that the Republican majority in the Senate, at least for now, is blocking a resolution that the Mueller report should be made public. I hope my friend from South Carolina and all of my Republican colleagues take time over the recess to think about this. We're going to be back here asking for consent again when the Senate is back in session. And my Republican colleagues ought to think long and hard before they block this resolution again. I object.
Objection heard.
So this is the way that they get around all of this. They claim that it is obstruction. They're going to block it. The only thing that they want to do is they want the same kind of energy that was invested into Trump to be invested into Clinton. No, we've already presented our resolution. This is the way it's going to go down. I think there is becoming a greater and greater push for the truth to come out to the open public about what the Clinton administration had done. The Clinton Foundation had done. And particularly what the Secretary of State when she was in office, how she used that office to financially gain hundreds of millions of dollars, at the same time betraying our country by selling us, literally selling us out, turning her back on 4 men in Benghazi who had repeatedly asked for help. I think all of this is getting ready to come out to the general public. Those who listen to this show and to this station, this is old news to most of you. But think of what's going to happen when this comes out as public. I mean, like everybody knows. There's no way to stop this anymore. This is kind of like a snowball now that has reached a point where it's too big. They're not going to be able to, they may be able to slow it down, but they're not going to be able to stop it. It is going to happen. It is going to be open and revealed. And the public is going to know just what kind of person Hillary Clinton, and probably Bill Clinton, most of us know about him anyway, what kind of people they really are. It is said that there is a video on the dark net that shows Hillary and her then administrative assistant, Uma Abedin, skinning a young girl alive, then wearing that skin, killing that young girl, and drinking her blood. If that ever becomes available, I wonder if that is, now that I think about it, there was information on Wiener's laptop that New York detectives claimed it was so horrific that it made the most seasoned of them cry. I wonder if that's what was on that laptop. If that video is real, if it's true, there would be no place for her to hide. I don't think anybody with any decency whatsoever would forgive her for such a brutal, evil, unbelievably horrible, horrific act, if it's true. Something inside of me says that this person isn't who they pretend to be. I had spoken with a man by the name of Larry Nichols. Michael Vera was with me at the time. We had a very interesting conversation with this man. He was the gopher, if you will, for the Clintons during their stay in Arkansas. He had some very interesting things to say. Actually had scheduled him to be on Late Night in the Midlands with Michael Vera, and it went awry. The night that we spoke with him, he asked that it not be recorded, but he said some very interesting things, and some of which were, he knew where all the nasty information was at, and I responded with all due respect, if you know that, you know the trail that these people have left, how is it that you're alive? And very interesting answers came forth. He supposedly has a lot of fail-safes in place, and they are very aware of them. They don't know where they are, or who they are, or what they are. But according to him, that's what has kept him. And the reason that he's coming out with the information now is that he believes that he has a short time left. And that short time wants to try to make things as well as possible for all the wrongs that he's done. I guess he's trying to right as many as he can. If people really find out, there was something that was said about George Bush. Now, I can't verify it, but I've seen it from several different sources that George Bush was giving an interview with someone at one time and said to the interviewer something to the effect of, if the American public ever found out what we have done, they'd chase us down the street and lynch us or hang us. I don't know personally of anything that George Bush did, but I've read many different articles from many different sources whom all agree. So though I wasn't there personally to witness it, I believe that it's accurate that that man was anything but honorable. He did a great job deceiving the people, just as many of them have. Deceiving the public, deceiving the Americans, taking from us what is rightfully ours under deception. And then anybody who wakes up and speaks out against them becomes a domestic terrorist, finds himself in a situation where their life is at risk, and the people who are after them are the very government that they have served. Many of us who come back from these God-forsaken places are considered the first line. And maybe not with this current administration, but with previous administrations. Veterans were thought of as the first line in domestic terrorism. Why? Why would they think that after we've served for our country, to put us in a picture such as that? Because they know that we know they lied to us. They know that we know all of the wars were not about our freedom. Had nothing to do with our freedom. Had everything to do with serving corporations. And they're worried that if enough of us speak out and gain credibility, then they won't be able to have their endless wars anymore. This is another reason why you see them chasing this president down and trying to do everything they can to make him look like he doesn't know what he's doing. For the first time that I can think of, we have a president that's bringing an end to 3 different theaters of war. North Korea, Syria, and Afghanistan. Who else has done something? Why is it that they're after this man so wholeheartedly with everything that he does? He wants to bring about peace, and yet they attack him. I would venture to say that they hate him so much that if he was to say, okay, I've changed my mind about, I don't know, pick one of them, North Korea, Syria, Afghanistan, or maybe change my mind, I'm going to go into Venezuela. Even though they are so pro-war, and war is what keeps their agenda going, I bet that they would come after him and, no, how dare you go into Venezuela? Or if he said, no, I think I'm going to go back to Syria. No matter what he does, they find some kind of evil associated with it. And the truth of the matter is, I think it's called deflection, if I'm not mistaken. It's where you accuse the other side of everything that you're doing. So if you're someone who is, a murderer, if you're a murderer, then you accuse the other side of being a murderer. If you're a Russian agent, then you accuse the other side of being. You know, it's curious. Here's the curious part. We know this. This is not a matter of theory. This is not a matter of conspiracy at this point. Well, it is a matter of conspiracy, but it's not a matter of a theory. We know that the money that came to pay for the dossier that ended up causing the government to allow to have the freedom, the authority to wiretap our president. We know that all of that was paid for essentially by the Clintons, right? So now we're seeing the Clintons. There is questionable evidence, have received hundreds of millions of dollars from the Russians. Can't find any evidence that Trump has received any money from the Russians. We can find all kinds of evidence that Clinton has received all kinds of hundreds of 145 at one shot. And this is who accuses the president of working with the Russians. I think it's called deflection. I may be mistaken. But I think that's what it's called. So whatever you're doing, whatever wrong that you're doing, that's what you accuse the other side of. If you started a fire, oh, you started that fire. This is what I see coming from the Democratic side. Everything that they're guilty of, they accuse the other side of. It's almost like I said earlier in the show, they have to tell you what they're doing. Projection. Is that what it's called? Projection? Anyway. So every time I see them accuse somebody of something, yeah, so I see what that guy's doing. It's crazy. But I believe we are reaching a point, literally a pivoting point in this country. We're either going to allow these people to continue to destroy what so many have worked so hard to ensure others that of our freedoms. We're either going to stand by and let them do that, or we're going to rise up and show them that we outnumber them. I believe the numbers probably hundreds, if not maybe thousands to one. I look at the maps of the election, how much was red and how much was blue. And you look at the ratio and how is it possible? How is it possible that these people can be getting away with what they're getting away with if the map is accurate? I mean, my gosh. When I looked at the map, it had to be like, it was more than 3/4. It was like maybe 7/8 of the map was red. Or would you say 3/4? Even 3/4. If there's 3/4, that means there's, for every one of them, there's 3 of us. How is it that they get away with this? How is it that we remain so silent and we allow this to continue when we know this is wrong? It's got to be a better way. And the better way is a system that already has been established a long time ago, and to adhere to that system and not to fray from that system, not to vary from that system, not to go away from that system. The system is basic. The system is simple. You take an oath to protect a document that says you will assure the people that you represent that their rights that are listed in that document will not be infringed upon. And if you do, then you have broken your contract and need to be fired, removed. In the old days, they would do quite a bit more. They wouldn't settle for just being fired. How dare you betray the American people? It would be your life. I tell you, if we were 200 years ago with the Founding Fathers, if they were still alive, they would be having a heyday with many of these people that are, quote, representatives. They would be having one heck of a time. Because they wouldn't even think of allowing these people to get away with it. They knew that government was necessary, but they also knew that it was necessary to keep the government within the limits of how much government we really need. And what we have today is a huge government. And that is exactly what they were fighting against. They knew that the larger the government got, the more dangerous the government became. And that's what we're seeing today. A dangerous government. a rogue government, people who have started wars on the basis of lies repeatedly. You know, I played the Archie Bunker thing. We began to talk about the bankers. Those are really the people who, the highest of the bankers. We call them bankers. I call them criminals, psychopaths, because money isn't enough for them. Power now. It has to be power. But he talks about it, and the first thing you hear is laughter. They have to tell you. They have to let you know what they're going to do. And the last thing that they want are people to stand up or wake up, be united, because they know very well that we outnumber them. Great numbers. Losing my voice here. Great numbers. And they can't afford that. They can't afford to lose their place. And that's what's happening. Slowly, but surely. Like a snake, when it wraps itself around its prey, it squeezes harder and harder and harder until the prey eventually can't breathe anymore. That's what's happening to them. They don't know how to get out of it. They've never encountered anything like this before. Everything they've tried has worked before. How is it not working this time? So in some areas, it's looking pretty bleak for them. But that doesn't stop them from their agenda. If anything, they're fighting harder now than ever before. I guess because they feel, well, hey, they all know who we are anyway, so what's the point in trying to deceive them? Let's just put it out in the open and be done with it. As long as the people remain silent, will be as long as they have permission to continue doing what they're doing. I say pitchforks and torches, my friends. In the old days, that's what would happen. The citizenry would rise up with pitchforks and torches to the main hall and demand justice. Sometimes they would tar and feather these people and kick them out of town. Don't ever come back. The people who were the representatives had a fear of the citizenry. Do you think these people have a fear of us now? They don't even have respect for us, let alone fear. They could care less. And they're very bold and brazen about telling you that. They don't care. Makes no difference to them. So it's beyond me how it is that we allow this to continue, because they're certainly not getting fixed themselves. They're not going to say, "Oh, please forgive us. Now we're going to be goody-goodies, and we're going to do what you want now. We're going to, we understand that the Constitution says that we're supposed to stand by and protect that for you. So whatever it is that you want, in whatever manner, particular amendment that you're talking about." What happened to freedom of speech? We're being censored so badly. Whether it's Facebook, Twitter, it doesn't matter. Heavily censored. If your speech isn't in line with the agenda, then you're censored. So it's no different than the Nazis burning books. The only difference is, instead of physical objects to burn, we have digital objects now. Deleting something is essentially the same thing as burning it. Censored right and left. Shows being taken. You may not agree with them. I'm not really a big, oh my goodness, I can't think of his name now. Alex Jones. I'm not a big Alex Jones fan. But he has a right to be there and a right to say what he wants to say, The problem I have with stopping people like Alex Jones is, what's them to stop me next, People like Michael Vera next. I understand what Martin Luther King said many years ago. I didn't understand it then. I thought he was a troublemaker, really. I was so ignorant. But he said that injustice anywhere is injustice everywhere. And I couldn't understand it until later in my time. And I understand it now. Whatever they do to somebody, they can do to anybody else. Basically is what he was saying. And that is so true. I'm watching it happen. They set a precedent one day in one place, and it's happening all over again. We live in a state now where if you're not careful, you get pulled over and you make a fast move or something, it could be the end of your life. Possible, very possible. Law enforcement has been on a defense trip for the past 8 years. They had an administration that was basically against law enforcement, telling the people that, law enforcement was unworthy of our respect. As a result of that, you have people in law enforcement who think everybody is anybody and everybody is their enemy. It's unfortunate. But this is part of the plan, to bring about the chaos, to set the lines, to get the guys in blue to hate the citizenry, to get the citizenry to hate the guys in blue so that they have them quarreling with each other while the big guys really get away with murder, literally. And they probably would have succeeded completely by now. Let's see, we're in the second, going into the third year. Yeah, I think we'd been pretty much wiped out by now. As a country, as America, as we knew it, anyway. Definitely would have been an additional, at least one more war, maybe two. Can you imagine there are children alive today, their entire life, we've been at war. Not only that, but they are now old enough to fight in these wars. Very possibly their father or mother fought in. What have we gained from all of these wars? I see that we have gained nothing as a people, okay? I'm talking as a people because this is coming out of our pockets, trillions and trillions of dollars into these wars. What have we gained? I don't think I haven't gained anything. I've lost, if anything. And what is the purpose of these wars? We were told initially that we were going after the first war, which started in Afghanistan, the first of the latest set of wars, which started in Afghanistan. We were told that we were going after a ruthless terrorist who was responsible for the attacks that occurred in New York on the World Trade Center. Osama bin Laden. We're going after Osama bin Laden. We had him cornered at least 3 different times. It's been reported, it's been documented. And then we're told to stand down so he could get away yet again. Yet we are there to this day, even after we were told that Osama bin Laden has been captured, has been murdered, has been buried at sea of all places. How many years ago was that? Why are we still there? The Iraq War was called Iraqi Freedom. I don't know how many of you remember that, but that's what they called it. We were going to go there. We were going to take care of a dictator who had weapons of mass destruction. And we knew that he had these weapons of mass destruction because we were the ones who sold them to him. Now we decided that that was a mistake. We better go take him out. So we took him out. We're still there. Then we decided we were going to go to Yemen because we saw the genocide that was occurring in Yemen, and we just couldn't stand by and watch it happen and do nothing. Shame on us. Well, the genocide is worse than ever, and we're still there. Then we decided that this country, Libya, this dictator, he's a threat to our country. He's a threat to the freedom of the American people, and he must be neutralized. So we went there, had him murdered, and now Libya, what a wonderful place Libya has become. It is one of the capitals in the local area for slavery. Want to buy a slave? Go to Libya. Thank you, United States. Of course, this was under the Clinton. As Clinton, Secretary of State, all of this occurred. So happy to report we came, he died, we left, or something like that, and then laughed afterwards. I believe there's coming a time. She's become a liability. There is coming a time when they're no longer going to hold her up, if you will. She has threatened repeatedly, if I go down, I'm taking many of you with me. I think that they will turn against her and make what they did to Trump look like a walk in the park. It will make it look as though she, in and of herself, is one of the most vile, one of the most evil people, and they won't have anything to do with her. Well, they will disassociate themselves from her. She's becoming a huge liability. Too many times, too many people, too many questions, not enough answers, too many bodies. Anyway, I want to play a song now for you. This is Red Like Reagan by Buddy Brown. I'm going to do an interview with Buddy. I'll play it on the show. I think he's a very interesting young man. You can find Buddy Brown again. This is, I'm not sure where he's out of. I met him online and wrote to him. I'm not sure where he's out of, but I got to tell you, he got some interesting music. This is kind of a tip of the iceberg. This is Red Like Reagan by Buddy Brown.
I can read your mind. We ain't about to get along, and I know why. You think we owe you when we don't. Yeah, there's a welfare line wrapping round Main Street. That money ought to help our boys coming back from overseas. We're gonna paint this country red like Reagan. Gonna shoot our guns, gonna eat our bacon. There's a great big bald eagle who's smiling on us, and soldiers who died for your privilege to fuss. If you wanna leave, you can't take it no more, and I'll show you the damn door. I'll show you the damn door. And all these protests, you're throwing out some heavy words, and I'm just wondering, how the hell'd you get off work? 'Cause I got 65 long hours that I just put in last week. Now I gotta go back home, hear you whining on TV. We're about to paint this country red like Reagan. Gonna shoot our guns, gonna eat our bacon. There's a great big bald eagle who's smiling on us, and soldiers who died for your privilege to fuss. If you wanna leave, you can't take it no more, and I'll show you the damn door. We're about to paint this country red like Reagan. Gonna shoot our guns and eat that bacon. There's a great big bald eagle who's smiling on us, and Soldiers who died for your privilege to fuss if you wanna leave, 'cause you can't take it no more. And I'll show you the damn door. I'll show you the damn door. Get out.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show on the LNM Network. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
From the author of Silent Steps and Haunted, Finding an Explanation for the Unknown, comes a story so chilling it will haunt you for years to come. Krista is a young woman escaping her past, running away from her family, her traumas, and her God, hoping to find a new life in a different town. But when she is forced to make a horrible choice, she comes to realize malevolent entities have controlled the true darkness she has been a part of. That is when her real terror begins. Penitence is disturbing and evocative. It will tear down the walls between what is real and what is nightmare. Penitence is the new novel by the man called the new master of speculative fiction, Ira Robinson. Find it and all of his books at his website, originalworlds.com.
Do you own a laser printer, copier, or a fax? Well then, listen close to this announcement. Laser Technologies has been providing high-quality, frustration-free toner cartridges that are guaranteed not to harm your equipment for over 20 years. Laser Technologies will save you on your supplies with high-quality and fast delivery. Savings up to 50%. Laser Technologies supplies toner, imaging drums, developer and cartridges for most of the major brands. For a price quote, send an email to service@laser-technologies.com. Include your printer make and model for your part number. Call us at 561-792-9600. That's 561-792-9600. Laser Technologies, providing 100% of the quality at a fraction of the price. 561-792-9600.
Want to give your pet the celebrity treatment? Have you heard of Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care in Royal Palm Beach? They're located just off State Road 7 and have been servicing the area for 14 years. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care is the home of the Blueberry Facial, also specializing in tartar removal with 8 years of assisting in dental procedures. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care? They're more than just about dogs. They are the only experienced cat groomer in the area. They also cater to all breeds and sizes and open 6 days a week. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care, located just north of the Super Walmart in Royal Palm Beach. You can find them at 250 Business Parkway. They specialize in shampoos with no extra charge. Flea and tick dips also available. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. You can give them a call at 561-793-9992. They also provide gift certificates for those looking for that special present. Holly Wolf Pet Grooming and Care. 561-793-9992. They're located in Royal Palm Beach. That number, 561-793-9992.
All right, it is the Red Pill Reality Show, winding it up just the last couple of minutes here. I want to thank each and every one of you out there. I want to thank those who play our show. I know WCET is one of them. I think High Point Radio is another one. There's a couple of others. I don't know who you are, but I do thank you. I will make sure that I'll find out from Michael, because he's the one who has the list. And make sure that we give you a shout out, because we greatly appreciate anybody who can help us in doing what we're doing. And that is just basically trying to get the word out there. Anyway, we are completely out of time. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and subscribers and donators. Greatly appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you in about a week or so. It has been an honor and a privilege. Talk to you soon.
Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. Take the red pill, take the blue pill, take the red pill, take the blue pill. You take the red pill, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, 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 take the red. You stay in Wonderland. You stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
You're listening to the Red Pill Reality Show with your host, Scala, every Saturday night on the LNM Network from 9 p.m. to midnight.